Hey, are you in your kitchen table?
I'm in my home office this
You're
morning.
in your study?
Okay.
You're in the study.
I'm in the study.
Yeah. What do you
Uh,
got in the study?
Um,
Give us a tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
We want to crib this thing.
yeah. Behind got Nebraska helmet, 49ers helmet, some game balls. Let's see here. Let's grab one. What do we
Yes.
say?
This
Nice.
is what the people want to see.
Um, this is from. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
27-20 Iowa State game. That was in 2005.
Okay.
October 1st. This is where we beat Iowa State in overtime. But probably one of my better games of my career. I had my only interception that game. I had like a couple sacks, a bunch of TFLs. It was a good game. But one of four game balls behind there. Some other stuff. I got stuff all over, jerseys and
Nice.
pictures, and it's a good picture of the D-line group.
Oh, no. Oh, yes. He was showing he disconnected. I think we caught Jay in post-workout, too. Seems a little out of breath.
Yeah, it must have been arm day. Jesus, he is jacked.
I know. Did he keep that on just the chest and arm area on purpose?
Fat fingers.
Oh, hey, there he
Okay.
is. There he is.
Fingers. But I was going to show you the line group. This was been in
Nice.
04 or 5. John Blake. There's a young Sue in there.
A young
myself, Lee Keevan, Titus, Barry Cryer, Ola Deganduro, just kind of flexing on them, having fun with it. But a lot of that stuff, a lot of good times.
Good. Let's start with defense. Your forte. Are we okay to say that the Indiana game was an outlier when we look at what Nebraska defensively is, especially based on what we saw on Saturday in Columbus?
I'd like to think so.
Come on, Jay.
Okay.
I'd like to think so. I think obviously Indiana's a really good football team. It's a really high-powered, tough offense. I think everybody they play this year is going to have a tough time defending that RPO system they have. And Signetti's a heck of a coach. But I do think it's a multiple things that this team and the staff learned is you don't need to overcomplicate it. I think there was some overcomplication. But I also think it's weird overcomplicating, and it's the chicken or the egg. Are you overcomplicating it, or is your preparation off? Which is like, is your preparation too much because you overcomplicated it, or is your preparation not good enough because you tried to throw so much in there where you kind of forgot what you do really well?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think it is an anomaly. I think you're seeing. I think I said this last week. I think guys have finally hit the point where like enough's enough on this defense, and I think you're seeing guys play better. I mean, Jamari Butler and MJ Sherman probably had their best games of their career on Saturday, which is a huge help. But I feel comfortable saying that this defense is. Even it's still hard for me to it's hard for me to get there just because of what happened just a couple weeks ago. But when you have a roster like they've played, $20 million or so, and the majority of that being on the offense, and you stoned. I mean, they had one. They executed 1 3rd down all game. You can definitely hang your hat on that. And the best thing about it is, even though the results. You didn't get the win, you can take so much from that game, and you can look back on what did you do during that week of preparation that got you to perform how you performed, and you got to put that in your mental, in your mind, and say, okay, I'm going to rinse and repeat that, and just try to do that process a little better every time.
If you would have told me before Saturday's game that Nebraska would hold both Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson to under 100 yards and really limit that, I would have thought, okay, first of all, it's surprising, but there would be much, much better tackling. Obviously, assignment sound is one thing, but we've seen now, if you go back to the 20 games for this defense, the majority of those games Nebraska's tackled very well. Against Illinois, which happened to be a loss. Against Indiana, it was very bad. There were a couple misses this last Saturday, but not nearly at the level that we saw Indiana. Where do you ultimately chalk that up to? Is this more of what a team is put the situations Nebraska is being put in, or is this as simple as the discipline, the technique, and dare I even say desire when it comes to all of that?
Yeah, I think desire there's always that. I said you got to come with bad intentions, and sometimes it's weird, and you play the game of football long enough. Sometimes your mind is like, I don't want to hit anybody, right? I don't want to, and you have to overcome that every single week because it's not a natural thing to do. And that's why I say you have to have bad intentions. You have to take your brain to go somewhere where that's not normal to go. And that's a battle you have to play with yourself every week, and that's a preparation thing. So I think that's always going to be an issue. And the good teams, the good players can go to those I always call them bad places, or like embrace the suck really quickly. They can flip that switch. But I also think simplifying things, getting your secondary in better coverages to play the run more efficiently, that's helped. I think you saw that on Saturday. Deshaun Singleton played much better. He's been a guy that's struggled coming up, making tackles in the secondary. And it's hard. I mean, if anyone, I'm never going to, it's tough. I mean, you're back there all by yourself and you got 30 yards to try to tackle a guy. I mean, good luck, right? But just when you're putting your guys in better situations, and everyone's roles are a little more defined, which I think they were on Saturday. Everyone can play quicker and faster, not second guess yourself, and not try to play so perfect as well. But I think you always got to have that mentality of the desire, right? And you got to approach it every week, and you have to do it. It's not just like that switch can't be turned on Saturdays. That switch has to be turned on first thing Monday morning when you step on that field. Because if you don't do it in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's definitely not going to happen on Saturday. So you have to take yourself to those places, and that's what the good ones do. That's what it's crazy. Some people think the guys in the NFL, these Hall of Famers, Pro Bowls, they take it easy during Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday during the week. It isn't, man. Every play. I remember I got to the 49ers and I saw Bryant Young, BY, practice. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, and this was my rookie year was his last year. Now, granted, he only practiced 2 days a week because he played a ton of football, but every single rep was a game rep. It was insane. So it just doesn't happen, right? You have the preparation is the most important part in anything, tackling, fundamental footballs. It's got to be addressed and taken care of, Monday through Friday. Otherwise, it just doesn't show up automatically in the games.
Jay Moore joining us. Let's talk about screens, because so many things have to go right to have it executed. I mean, it's really a beautiful play if it works out well, but Nebraska is boom or bust. And now we're hearing, the checks that were made. Maybe wide receivers didn't hear the check or realize that they were going to run a screen, so it looked discombobulated. But is this a bigger picture? And this can either be spun in a good way or a not so good way. Is it good or concerning that your freshman quarterback is checking in and out of these so often?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that. I love that they're given the freedom to your quarterback to do that. And a lot of times that's you got, especially, and what they're referring to is in man situations. A lot of times you can get guys when they're in man-to-man situations on some of these plays. But everyone has to be on the same page. So now it's okay, Dylan, we're giving you the right of way, the go ahead to make these checks. But if we can't trust our wide receivers to get them and the communication's on the same page, maybe we got to shelve it for a week or two until everyone's on the same page, or until I feel comfortable, Satterfield, Coach Rule, that it's where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. I mean, you have to implement screens. You have to have some short to intermediate passing, because you want to run stuff off of that. I fully get it. But where I struggle with it is if your wide receivers have struggled since day one on the edge, and then the message or the communication is not correct or being understood the right way, then we got to kind of readdress and rethink how we're going about our process. And maybe we got to take a little more control of how things are being done so we can get my team, my offense, in the best situation to have success. Mm-hmm. So I think obviously it's got to get fixed. It's got to get cleaned up. I do think not having Ramir in the screen game, that was a part of why they struggled. He's so good in that area. But at times they ran it successfully, but it's just not what you want to see when you have multiple plays. It's passes, tackle behind line of scrimmage, whether to a running back or a wide receiver. That's got to get cleaned up because you got to have. Essentially, that's another extension of the run game. You're not going to have an RPO situation with Dylan Raiola. It's just he's not going to run the football in his own read. So you have to have those type of play calls in there to keep defenses honest. But if it's not going to be done the right way and guys aren't going to be the same page, you got to take a little more control and say, hey, nope, that's not going to happen. Or check with me situations. You've seen it do it a few times. Teams kind of rush up there, look over the sideline. Hey, are they in the right coverage? Hey, run the play. If not, check. We're going to get out of it and do something different. But obviously you can't keep, banging your head against the wall and, expecting different results. That's got to get fixed, and it's got to get better here in November.
I want to get into what's at stake on Saturday, the state of mind this team is playing at home. You got a UCLA team that maybe their record doesn't necessarily indicate the type of challenge that they will present. But Jay, I want to throw the scenario at you. If Nebraska is in the right mindset, they positive bounce back, even though they lose to Ohio State, a lot of good things on the defensive side of it, that they're able to take care of business on Saturday. What that, in your opinion, having a bye week following that, and then having three winnable games, they're losable as well, but 3 opportunities after that. The difference between them getting that win on Saturday with those games remaining, as opposed to if they were to fall flat at home going into a bye and then having those 3 games. Your thoughts on just the state of mind for this team?
Yeah, I think it's obviously this game is so important. I never want to say, I hate saying it's a must win, but let's be honest, this is a must win game. I think it's your most winnable game out of these 4. And it's just going to put you, imagine getting this game and you get the 6th win, this monkey's finally off their back. Mm-hmm. Just being able to go, just exhale a little bit. It just frees you up a little more heading into USC, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Listen, I think UCLA's had a tough schedule. Nebraska, I think, should win by 2 touchdowns. But we've seen, this has been Jekyll and Hyde this year for this team. But UCLA can't run the football. Garbers is decent throwing the football, but they're -7 in the turnover category. They can't block anybody. They struggle I think Nebraska's able to get after them in the pass rush. So I think the defenses can have a heyday back there if they come with that same mentality that they had against Ohio State and build off of that offensively. Actually, UCLA is okay against stopping the run, but they get diced up. I think they're allowing almost 275 yards to the air so far through 7 games. So there's obviously opportunity there. And I know Nebraska fans are probably like, oh, great, we're going to try to throw the ball a ton. But they're not good at stopping it. So, yeah, it's a big one. It's an opportunity to take care of business and just get the ball rolling in the right direction. It seems like we've been on this path. At times it seems like it's going the right direction. Then it gets completely blown off the map. And you kind of get it back going the right direction. I know success isn't a straight line, right? It's ebbs and flows of it, but this is a big one. This is a big one for the psyche, for the fan base. That I like you mentioned, I don't want to. If you stub your toe and play sloppy and mistakes show up, maybe rain or whatever it is, knock on wood, that you lose and you go into a bye week, then you're at USC and they're coming off a bye week too. So you're just like, man, Nebraska had 5 wins heading into November last year and struggled as well. So this is an opportunity to get this thing where it needs to be. But I feel pretty comfortable at saying I feel like they learned the lesson against Indiana, and they're ready to turn the corner.
Hey, when you hear the phrase championship mindset, what do you think that means concerning Nebraska?
Kind of what I was just talking about before, preparation and just how you take care of yourself and take care of your business Monday through Friday. Knowing that you can't play well, you can't win, have success on Saturday if it's not approached the same way Monday through Friday. I think we've heard this, and this is obviously you get into the philosophy of football or life, whatever it is, but it's approaching it every day the same way, and it's process driven. And I know it's hard because this is a very results driven business. I understand that, and we know that, but you have to show up with the same mentality every day and just have that focus to get better. Even if you got your butt kicked the week before, you didn't play well, you got to still be on the same page. When it's down, don't matter. I'm still coming with my same mentality, my same preparation, that same energy, and I'm going to work and I'm taking care of my business. And that's what I think it takes. And obviously the process hasn't been good, right? For a long time. And I think you get tied up in the emotions of everything, and I'm putting all this work in. This is, things aren't going my way. So, attitudes are down, and, you're feeling sorry for yourself, and, oh my gosh, this is really hard, and you can't think like that. It was exactly when those minds come in your head, you got to tell them kind of, shut the hell up, and I'm going to go about my business. We always had a strength coach, Dave Kennedy at Nebraska. He'd always, our strength during our conditioning and lifting, he always was pushing our buttons, and it was always ring, ring, ring. The devil is here, because that mind, that voice in your head is coming out. And I think I'd have that championship mindset, because it's normal. It's natural for that devil to be in your head and say, hey, shut it down, man. This is too hard. Quit. This isn't easy. I think having that championship mindset is telling that devil to go to hell, and I'm gonna go about my business and get to where it needs to go. So deep, it's philosophical stuff, but it's a lot of having that mental mindset is very important.
Staying along those lines, and this was a question that I was asked to both upperclassmen and underclassmen yesterday about the bowl drought and being able to snap that and everything that comes with it. With some of the younger players, and I thought Dylan, when he was asked this question, I want to believe that this is the mindset that he and Ja'Cory Barney and Carter Nelson and Willis McGahee and all the freshmen, and even redshirt freshmen, are sensing this, that they don't dwell on that as much. They don't dwell on one score losses because they haven't experienced it as much. But can you make a case that it's equally as important for them to get over this hump for this program, because all of a sudden you are setting the tone, especially for this younger group, that they're experiencing at the very least a bowl season, a winning season? And because I like how Dylan said, they came here to win. They're not thinking about bowl droughts. They came here to win games. And, he even threw out our mindset is to win the remaining games and get to 9-3. We know how important and what it means to the upperclassmen, but can you make the case that it's maybe as, if not even more important for these younger guys?
Oh, most definitely. That's the future of this program. There's a lot of guys who played a lot of football on this team, especially defensively. I think, what did I see? Bryce Benhart and Ty Robinson are going to play their 56th game on Saturday to tie Cam Meredith as the most played. I mean, that's crazy. But comes with that is PTSD and a lot of losses. And some of these young kids haven't experienced that, which I get, but sometimes experiencing some of those issues, and they have with some close losses, is a good thing, because you can failure is a teachable moment. Failure is a learning moment. Have things come easy is not that's not how you grow. So I think some of these kids are learning how to grow and process it. But you can see, we can also learn by example for some of these younger players, whether it's good or bad. The younger players learning from the older players, just by example, whether it's good or bad, how to do things, maybe not how to do things. But really just taking this, stepping in here, day one, and whether it's been in spring ball or they came in fall camp, and putting themselves in this process and understanding it and the work that goes into it. And I think Dylan fully understands that. And I think if anybody can get to his level and how he prepares and does things, this team's going to be fine. But yeah, I like, there's a lot of young players who, on this team, and they're going to be very, very important next year and in the year after, when hopefully this thing finally pops and you're, in early November, you're talking about making the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun to see these young kids play. It's fun to see these young kids shine and make plays, because I know how difficult it is. I was nowhere near was ready to play as a true freshman. I'm always impressed to see all these young players just step out there, especially on the defensive end, and play on the D line or play on the edge, because that's a violent, physical place to play. But things are like I said, these young kids we got the right guys in place to bring these young guys along, and like I said, get this thing where it needs to go.
Appreciate it, Jake. Great stuff, and thank you for the little tour of your home office.
You bet. Anytime. Well, maybe next week we'll do the basement.
Hey, there you go.
All the jerseys are down there. We'll go all the jerseys.
Hey, mark it down. That's what we're doing next week during the bye week.
All right, sounds good.
That's Jay Moore.